Oh no.
Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. God. Listen to me. I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I know it hurts. Come on, baby. Please. I know, baby. I know. Sarah. Baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on. No. No. No, no, please. Please, please, please don't. Please.
The first 15 minutes is arguably the most important part of The Last of Us. It sets the tone for the rest of the story and carries over into the gameplay and the world that Naughty Dog has crafted for us, which is the part of the game that I'll be looking at today. The story kicks off strong, with Sarah dying in Joel's arms, looking up at him with fear as a daughter hopes her father will fix it. Her cries and death give a chilling reaction to the player and the realization that this story will be a tough one. The tough things can be seen in the art style of the game. This world is a world that is being demolished by nature as she seemingly takes back what was hers. Overgrowth and plant life can be seen on the streets and in and outside of buildings, with the infected being nature's most deadly weapon. The graphical fidelity and detail elevates this, and it rivals some of the most visually astounding games, and considering the original game is such an old title, the way that Naughty Dog has rebuilt this world is truly impressive. The graphical detail and realism that is experienced with the remade character models also brings a new experience in terms of storytelling and immersion that the original game could not deliver due to technological restraints. Although the performances of the actors are largely the same, the added expression really heightens it and allows us to experience the game as Naughty Dog has originally intended. Also, if you made it this far in the video, congratulations, because you have an attention span that is longer than most of social media, especially TikTok. So, if you are enjoying the video, consider leaving a like and dropping a sub. It really means a lot to me. Performance-wise, this game runs incredibly smoothly. I've only experienced maybe a handful of dips and frames because, I was recording footage at the time, so that is not a fault of the game. The slow-paced gameplay is something that most newcomers will take a while to get used to, but it seems to serve a purpose that drives home the fact that you are in a hostile environment and any mistake could lead to an untimely death. The gameplay is very intentional, forcing you to weigh every decision you make. When sneaking around, for example, stealth takedowns are usually the way to go. But because of the lengthy animations of the kill, it could result in you being spotted and forcing you into an action sequence of which you might not have been prepared for. So, taking your time and being precise with your kills will more often than not result in a successful encounter. And if stealth is not to your liking, an all-out gunfight is another way to go, but be warned, resources are very limited, and in most cases you will find yourself with a shortage of ammunition and supplies, and this forces you to consider every shot you take, as you never know if you'll need it in the future. All this being said, the gameplay does feel a little bit dated, seeing as Naughty Dog did not really touch on this aspect of the game. So it is by no means a perfect gameplay loop, however, it remains satisfying when achieving whichever goal you had in mind. The remake also makes use of the PS5's controllers and the haptic feedback that it provides. Raindrops, for example, can be felt with little vibrations all over the controller. Environmental vibrations can be felt on whichever side of the controller that is parallel to the player, like generators or vehicles, and most noticeably, the trigger resistance that occurs when drawing your bow or the trigger of your gun. This really helps immerse you into the world that is beautiful and yet deadly. And speaking of which, you can explore this world to a certain degree. The level design of The Last of Us is very much linear, but it does still afford exploration in that you can access different rooms for scavenging for resources, and in very few instances, you'll have a little town in which you can explore the surrounding houses or buildings. Ultimately, though, the path of progression only offers you one or two routes at most, which you can take to your next destination. During your journey, you'll notice a lack of enemy density, which I personally found very refreshing for a post-apocalyptic game. There are no hordes of infected or dozens of human enemies which you need to fight off. This is a world that very much has been ravaged over the years, and it's a course of 20 years. So humans and infected have been killing each other off for that time period, making the encounters even more intense because the realization that every peaceful section has a heart-racing encounter around the corner really drives that intensity home. There's no real enemy variety, with only 4 infected types and fewer human enemy types. Some people might find issue with that, but that is not something that I found to be a problem. Although the story review will be done in a later video, I will say this: Naughty Dog remains almost unparalleled in their storytelling, which almost always delivers a cinematic type experience which compels you to have an invested interest for the characters of their worlds. The story of The Last of Us is arguably its strongest selling point. Whether or not long-time fans should pay full price for Part 1 is really up for debate, seeing as they have probably replayed the game on the previous versions, which is the original and the remastered for PS4. But for newcomers such as myself, this is the definitive way to play The Last of Us without a doubt. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it, and it actually helps me out quite a bit. So yeah, I'll catch you guys probably next week with the story review, which I'll be much more in depth, and it will be filled with spoilers. But until then, stay safe, and may God bless you all.